So hello everyone. Please let me know if you can hear me well and see me well, and then we will start. And you hear me well, plus minus. C1 plus. Great. So then we'll start with today's tutorial. Before we start, we'll look at the results that you sent me from the last time. And so they were not, honestly, not that impressive, but okay, it's good that at least you did something, and well, at least I have like knowledge of what you're capable and whatnot. So let's look at a few things here. Um, so one way how to actually look at the code. Okay, so I guess first of all let's look how they look as running. And then, by the way, if you have any comments, then write in the chat. So now let's look how they're running. So this was from one student, Rohit. So the good news here that we have like the array of aliens flying, and also the it's interesting way how there is the walls and they can hit the walls, and they can also shoot those aliens, but there are like the scoring is not implemented at all, which is strange. And also when the aliens shoot on me, there is a and if they move at the same time down, they will be attacked by themselves, and this is also not resolved in this code. And also if they hit me, nothing happens really. So that's that's not really a finished game, but okay, this is a good attempt at least. So, and then the other student, Christiana, so it seems like a little bit less than that, or maybe it is okay. So there's actually more than that. Sorry. So the when I previously ran it before the session, I did not run the correct file, I guess. So now I'm seeing that the Christiana attempted to implement also the lives, so that's really nice. But then there's some bugs here, so I will help you out with that. And we also compare a little bit of code, so you understand that what I'm doing actually when I'm checking your work. So let's see. Meanwhile, oh no, let's deal with this first and then the next thing. So okay. So we have some issue here with the lives code. So let's start one by one. So if the rocket position, so what it is, okay, she tried to do that in the middle of your game loop, but we already have the collision detection implemented. So the collision detection is here. So if collision is happening, then we can do something with it. So we don't need to make another separate loop here, so separate function scope here. But if you would like to do that, you cannot do it just like that from the class of the object, because I remember there is very big difference between the rocket. So this is completely different than this and this. So, and well, even let me show you even more of that. So if I write rocket.position, which is static function, which is only in the singleton type of situations, and when I write rocket position like this, there is a huge difference. This is completely different behavior of the code. So you should never mix them together. So you even get some of the errors here, that the code is not really well built here. So I hope you understand that there is this difference, and to actually access that rocket position, you should then use the elements. So in the elements list, in this list inside there somewhere, I don't know, like either 0 or 1 or whatever, there lives inside the instance of an object, not the object itself. So is this clear? Like, is the difference between object and instance clear? Is the difference between object and instance clear, or should I show more examples? So in the chat, I'm asking a question now. So Rohit is saying that it's clear. What about Christiana? Should I show some examples? So why you cannot do this in this kind of code? Okay, I don't see. Okay, so but you're saying that it's clear. I really hope that it's clear. So that's one thing. Then the other thing is regarding the lives. So you correctly implemented these lines that you want to print out the lines lives. So this is really nice that you understand that you can access through the game state instance the singleton, so this global instance, and then access with the dot point dot here lives property. So that's great. But then I don't understand why then in the code below you suddenly don't use anymore that instance, but some kind of unknown different instance. So if you would like to do that, you should do it in this way. So then you subtract something from that instance, and then if that is 0, then you print game over, and then you even can set exit, right? But the upper part of the code is not correct. So you can do that. Of course, if you would like to use the pointers of an object, then in that case, we cannot really get the pointer in Python to the integer here, but we can get the pointer to this part. So for example, like game state pointer. So we can have it like that, and then we can write it like this. But still, we definitely need to have this kind of structure from where we take the lives. They cannot be just from the, you cannot just start writing lives and do something with it. It's actually stored inside that instance of an object here. So that part hopefully is clear. Then the last thing, so it should not be actually in this part of the code, but here. So if we add it here, so you should have added the code here. So, and it would be something like this if the type of element is equal to, so one element. So we know that one of these elements is the rocket for sure, we know that. But if the other element is the player, so either J or I is the player, then we subtract these lives. And this code works because the game state pointer is defined up there in the upper part. So now if we get hit, we will get the lives reduced. I really hope this is clear. So now I will show how did I compare the code. Also here, Christiana reported that some of the collisions were not detected. So this happens because you have the brake in the wrong position. So you should have the brake in this tab. So if there is a collision, then we break out of it, not after just the first check of the collision. So I think there was a bug in the template, but basically there should be a tab here, okay? So I will also check that if the template has the bug. Yeah, so the template I think has the bug. I think. So anyways, so that part. And yeah, so now quickly show you so that would like how much you actually did. So that I think that's kind of important as well to understand. So let's not look anymore at the Python code from here, but let's look at where I have the meld. Okay. Okay. Yeah, I have it. Okay, cool. So Yeah, so this is the diff code, right? So this was the original template. I think it was. Maybe I should double check. Okay, edit. Just a second. And we'll work today with the WebStorm. So please, if you did not install WebStorm yet, then please make sure that you install WebStorm. So that is the product, also similar to PyCharm. And if you did not install it, then you will have to work with PyCharm, but it will be a little bit more difficult than working just with WebStorm. So please make sure that you have it if you don't have it. And we'll type in the chat here, WebStorm. So yeah, just one double check. So if I add the template here, and now if I add on the other side the Rohit's code, for example, we'll see how much actually he did the work or not did the work. So we'll see that there is something changed a little bit with the collision. So I guess this is, so with the rocket, so this is a player collision. And if we collide with the rocket, and the direction is, I guess, this is the alien rocket, then we will have the collision. Okay, that's good. Then what else we have here? So the rockets, I guess, are removed if they reach the end of the scope of the bottom part of the screen. Then there is the event logic that we did together. And that's about it, I guess. So there is the alien adding code with the for loop, so that's nice, but that we also did. And that's about it. So not very impressive work, unfortunately. So and let's see about Christiana. How much changed code do we have here? Again, similar progress. So I guess the only thing that Christiana attempted was to have the lives implemented. So anyways, now I know what's your level. So it's just that any hint to make collision between rocket and player happen. So rocket and player collision, you mean it's not happening? You already implemented that. So in that part of the code where you had where it's overridden in the player check collision, and there is a check with the rocket, I think you yourself implemented that if the rocket is in the other direction, then the collision should happen. So I think that part was okay. Let me quickly double check that. But I cannot stay here too long. It's just that we need to move on with the next tutorial. So I'm looking at your code, other rocket, Y, self collision other. I think it should be right. So you're saying that it doesn't work, right? So okay, let me debug this. It's just that we don't have that much time, but let me debug it. So okay. Hopefully it will switch. Yes, it switched. So you're saying that when the rocket hits you, you did not get destroyed. So let's see. So the aliens, where we have the patience. So let's make them very impatient so that they would shoot a lot of rockets. So say one by one. So basically every 2 seconds or so. Okay, so we'll have that part, then the collision part, then we have all of this thing. So there's the player removed on that part. So this part basically should be then the collision thing. Okay, so if I am running it, So that's Rohit's code. I think it's, oh no, that's not Rohit's code. So debug run. Okay, let's see what we have there. Okay, the collision rocket. What is this? Okay, freight. So that means that the collision is yet to happen. It's just the checking of the collision. Okay, so we'll see. Try to get hit by a rocket. So okay, interesting. I know where your problem is. So you implemented yourself the problem, because you implemented that the rockets disappear, and the objects disappear when they reach the bottom part here. But this happens probably before the collision checking, so you get to this point and you remove all of those objects, and then it never gets detected by collision detection. So yeah, so you should remove this part basically after the collision detection, not here. So if I comment it out, I suspect that then the player would be destroyed with the rockets. So we'll see that. So that line was not originally in the code, so you added yourself that one. Yeah, so it works like, so you need to just change the logic. Hopefully that makes sense. Oh no, I accidentally made my computer a little bit to freeze. Hopefully we'll get back. Okay, yes, we'll get back. Okay, I hope. So anyways, yeah, so I'm back. Anyway, so hopefully that's understandable where you had the mistake. So let's move back to the today's lesson. So today we'll have a template in the WebStorm. It looks like this. So I will send you a template now for our today's tutorial. If you don't have a WebStorm, then we also have an option what to do. So okay. So I'm adding the template link in the chat, and also will add the template link in the description. So template in description as well. So please let me know two things. So is template ready for work, and in which environment, in which ID? So if it's everything is great, then you type in plus WebStorm. If you have something else, then type what you have right now, so I understand how to help out, because the WebStorm will have some very nice features to make this a lot easier, but if you don't have WebStorm, then it will be a little bit harder. So this is the template. We will go step by step, and what the purpose of this is that we want actually to implement the same game that we had in Python in just in pure HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, and the kind of modern version of JavaScript that works on the Chrome, not on other browsers, that is based on the ES6 standard. So okay, I'm seeing that. Okay, yeah, you can do this VS Code with live MPI server. That's another option. So let's wait for Christiana as well. It's not absolutely necessary to use WebStorm if you can manage with the npm, I mean that live server package in VS Code. But you will see why the WebStorm is a little bit better. So what about Christiana? So let's wait. So okay, meanwhile we'll show what we have here. So we have the HTML code, so everything will be running just in this one file. So there is, in the top part we have the tags, and in the bottom part as well. So the top part is head tags, so these are not rendered. So these are just the code part that is not visible to the user, and then the body part which is visible to the user. Okay, so great, we have the WebStorm ready. So okay, so let's add something very simple. So there are simple different types of tags available. So one tag that we can use is, for example, span, and we can write here hello world. And the span tag means that it's just like uncontrolled text, so it's always aligned by the top parent settings of the styles. So it's just very simple text field. And then very important stuff what I want to show you here is that in the WebStorm, on the top part, you see these icons when you scroll. And if you press on the Chrome icon, then it will open in Chrome browser. And the nice thing about that is that it will automatically refresh after you do any changes, and it will be in sync with the WebStorm automatically. If you don't have any of this, then of course you also have an option to run your own background server. So one option is to use this command, Python. So in the directory that you have, you can call this Python 3 m HTTP server with the port name. So this is only if the first method doesn't work that I showed you now. So and then let me show you what the first method looks like. So if the first method worked for you well, then what you should see, where is my Chrome? Google Chrome, right. So then you should see something like this. And if the first method doesn't work, at least in the WebStorm it should work, but if it doesn't, then in that case you can run in the console in that directory where it's located your file this command. It will start the server on the 9000 port because we already have the Python installed. So then in that case you could go here as localhost 9000, and then it opens your it opens your directory, and then you can open the template like that, and then you just need to refresh it every time that something changes. But this one refreshes automatically, so that's really nice. So I will add those few snippets to the Jamboard on slide 2, so that you understand how to run it in case if you have some problems. So I will actually make a screenshot of the WebStorm interface and where you need to click. So you need to create this very simple WebStorm project. The basic HTML or web project. Don't choose any other specific options. Just the basic one. So I'm adding to the slide number 2, where you need to press. And if by any way something doesn't work, you can write the second option, second way to do this. Okay, so I'm adding that to the Jamboard slide number 2. So that's in case if you have so many problems there. So if you have any questions, then type also in the chat, of course. Okay, I see that no questions so far, hopefully. So hopefully everything is fine. Okay, so let me see. So we are here. Okay, so then let's look at the other things. So if I'm now going to this Chrome browser where we opened the link from the WebStorm, then here we can press the left button and then inspect, and then we get this very nice console that is useful for debugging in the Chrome. So, and the first thing you see that if you press any buttons, you see that I already implemented the code so that you can see in the console which button is pressed. So you give all button the names, the key names. So that will be useful for controlling the spaceship. Okay. So let me know if you're so far. So are you did you got so far? Are you okay with this code so far? Plus minus if there is anything not working. If you're not at this place yet, then please let me know. If you are, then also let me know. Okay, I see that the one plus. Let's wait for Rocket as well. So target for today is to go over some of the basics regarding the HTML, CSS, JavaScript in the context of this game. So it's not possible that we will go through all of the things just in one session, because there's a huge amount of material, but it will be just very beginning, and then we gradually accumulate more knowledge. Okay, so great, we have it here. So let's go back to the code. Okay, so let's go back to the code. Okay, so I'll make this smaller, and that actually I should kill it. So okay, like that. Okay, so we have hello world working, but that's not actually what we need. We need the game, right? So to make the game kind of visible in some sense, let's add some of the elements here. So let's start by exploring HTML part. So by the way, you see three ways of adding comments. So this is a style part, and there is a comment, how it's written, and this is like HTML type of comment, and this is JavaScript type of comment. And you also see already some small code of JavaScript. We also see in the top part, this line, it means that we are including external library called jQuery. The jQuery library is the most powerful JavaScript library for client uses and HTML editing and modification and all sorts of things. So that's something that you should learn and be able to use it very well. So let's add the main scene where we want to play the game. So this will be div ID. So you can add all sorts of attributes. So the HTML in general is basically the XML format of the data. So we already know the JSON format of the data, because that format is very similar to what we used in dictionaries in Python. So this data format was of like setting the nodes and the tags is something that is called XML. So this is again, this is just a comment. So XML, HTML data format. And in this case, we defined one node that will be visible to the user, because everything that's inside the body tag, that's visible to the user, except the script, of course. So that will be visible node to the user. So this is div. So the div is like a block. So anything that is div, this is a block, like any boxes or something like that. So we'll add that part. And yeah, so and then let's move to the style part. So you also can add styles directly to the nodes like this. So style, and then set some kind of, let's say, border width 1 pixel, but do not do this, because that's not a correct way to create sustainable HTML and CSS files. By the way, there will be even more abstraction of this, but for now, let's just use it like it is. So then we can have all sorts of, so we can add this, basically the same thing as adding like this, the style. We can add the style to depending on the CSS selectors. So what this part is that you should then look at home yourself. This is called CSS selectors. Again, this is comments. Green ones are comments, of course. So, and then we can select it by the, so one option is to select it by tag type, and this looks like this. So let's say HTML body. So either if we select any of those two tags, or maybe we can just select one tag, then we can apply some kind of style rules here. and we apply style rules with these curly brackets. So, and then the style rules will be, first of all, background color black, and if you're using the WebStorm, you will get a lot of these automatic suggestions that will make your life a lot easier. So definitely recommend that. So background color black, then width 100%. So we want that it will cover the whole screen. Then let's add some other few things. So overflow hidden. So that means that we want to hide the scroll bar. Hide scroll bar. Then color white, because we have now the black background. We can also, of course, define colors like this, like F, 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 or F, F, F. Okay, I don't know where it's, okay, here. I guess I don't need these actually. Yeah, so anyways, we can define colors like that as well. And so this is basically white. This is white. White text, right? So that we have. Then we also want to define the text size. So there will be the font size of the 16 pixels, and the line height for this kind of configuration would be nice to have 20 pixels. And then the what else? The font family, let's set it monospace. So that will be just the layout, how everything should look like for the background. So that's not actually the game itself, just the background. So that part, and then for the game part, and don't worry, I will let you time to catch up with this as well. So then for the game itself, scene, so there is again different type of selectors. So you see before we selected without the hashtag, and now we have the hashtag. So the hashtag mean ID. So if we have any sample with ID, then we should use the hashtag. So that is another type of selector. So the selectors are super important. You must understand them very well. So it will, if you don't understand them now, you will need to work with them a lot, because they are used in jQuery all the time. So not only in CSS. So here, let's add some border. So border with 1 pixel, border color light gray, for example. Of course, you can add your own things that, like, if you want something a little bit different, you can add yourself. So then the border style solid, it can be also like not solid. What is the dotted, I guess, and dashed, solid, something like that. So you can try out all of these. That's why it's also nice to have a WebStorm or similar IDEs where you have the ability to explore these properties. They automatically give you suggestions. So, and then the width and height. So the width of our scene will be 220 pixels. And what I mean by that is that there will be the 11 emojis. So this is, and each emoji is 20 by 20. It should be like that, hopefully. So, and then height is 300 pixels, and this means that this is 15 emojis in the Y direction, like that, hopefully. And also make sure that you add these semicolons at the end of each line. So this is very big difference from the Python, that you always need to add these semicolons after each line, also for the CSS and JavaScript. So if everything works well with this, then you should automatically see in the so let's add that one more line. So margin, so this will be a margin 0 auto. So this means that the game will be centered in the middle part. So this means the margin top is 0 and margin sides are auto. Left, right is auto. So what I'll do is first I add this part of the code to the Jamboard, and then I will show how it looks like, and then I will wait for you to catch up, and then we'll go to the next part. So I'm adding this to the slide number 3. Again, the reason, so I added that to the slide number 3, but let me explain one more thing that I think I jumped over. So the output should look like this, okay? So, and the code is on the Jamboard now. And so, yeah, let me go back to how it looks like in the code. So the question is why we could not just open the HTML file in the browser and then just execute all of the stuff. So the answer for that question is that the browsers are made in a way that they are bordered out of your file system. So they would not be able to access anything in your file system, so that there would be not malicious scripts that could do some damage, right? So that's why we need these kind of options, either through the WebStorm or to the Python web server or Node web server or any kind of web server to serve those files, so that we will have in here in the top address bar not the location to your file, but location to some kind of localhost temporary fake website, sort of to say. So the hosting where actually this is located. So, and in that way the browser has no access to your file system. As soon as you would just open the HTML file directly in your browser, there will be some security errors and you would not be able to do anything normal with it. So that is very important also to understand. Okay, let me see in the chat. Okay, so I will ask in the chat, did you get so far? Did you get so far? Plus, minus. If minus, then let me know what problem is. Oh, that's excellent. You worked fast, so that's great. That is excellent. Okay, so let's move then back to the. I would be very happy if you would work so fast also with the homeworks, but at least you try. So I believe that in soon, if you don't give up, you will be able to do amazing things also in the homeworks. So let's see. So okay, we have the scene. So let's add some aliens. Okay. So the way how we would like to add those aliens probably would be something like, so let's add two aliens. So div class, so again, the aliens will be many. So the things that repeat many times also in HTML and CSS are called classes. So the same way as in any other programming language. So here, let's call them element. So and the alien. For the CSS and HTML, it's kind of tricky because you cannot just call it alien. We need to also call it its superclass together. So it's kind of similar logic to how it would be in normal programming, but at the same time, it's not exactly like that. So you will see that in a moment. So we have one alien like that. And let's add another alien. And let's also define manually the position of those aliens. Later we're gonna define the positions dynamically, but now let's set them manually. So top position will be 40 pixels, and then the other left position will be also 40 pixels, for example. And then we can put another alien side by side, the first one. So the other one will be top 40 and then left 60 pixels, like that. And then we need to do a few things here. So first of all, if you define the element, so the classes are, and by the way, in the pie chart in the WebStorm, it automatically even gives me the hints when I press the dot button. So, and the hint is element, and now if I add this selector, so this selector means any so the dot means class attribute. So this means class attribute. So we want to define this one as position absolute, and we want to define that this element is relative to the scene, and to make it relative to the scene we must have the position relative inside the scene, like that. So that far so good. Then we need to also add the alien itself. So one option is to add alien directly here as a picture. Oh no. So let me see. We will have at least two options how we can do this. So we can add alien like that. And if I'm looking at how it looks like in the screen. Okay, I think yeah, so let's do it in two ways. So this is one way how to do it. Let's do a better way. So the better way would be not add the alien at all in this part, but instead what we could do is to have the defined in CSS code the contents of those aliens. So there will be alien, and then we can use this specific nice extra tag called after. So in the CSS there is a specific modifiers with these two colons, and in this case we can add the content. So the content would not work directly in the alien class or in the element class. It would only work if we add those after things, and maybe also some other modifiers. So now if I add it in this way, we also get the same nice output. So I showed you two ways how to add those aliens now. So I will add these lines also to the Jamboard. By the way, I hope you understand that the div element inherits both properties from the element and the alien. So it's not just like one of them. So the CSS and HTML language kind of the data representations, they might be a little bit tricky. They're not that clear, understandable maybe sometimes as just straightforward code. So you need to get used to that. So I'm adding this to the slide number 4, and this should look like this. And then my question in the chat will be, did you get so far, plus, minus? And then we'll go to the next things. Okay, great. By the way, the other thing is not only getting so far, but also understanding it. So if by like if something looks really strange and you don't get it, what it is, then please try to type in the chat so I can help you out to understand, so that you would be able to do the homework. So, and of course you will need to look for things yourself, but I can explain something as well. So we have this part. Let's look what else we need. So we want to make this alien, this Space Invader game. Okay, so let's see. Okay. Let's explore a little bit more of HTML stuff. So let's add the header of those score and the lives. So that will allow us a little bit understand more about the HTML. So see also how I'm adding the tabs here. So the tabs in HTML are not required, but they are required if you work for me. So basically, you need to make code clean and clear and readable. It cannot be a mess. So here there is so it must be done with the tabs. So here there is the meta header, or anything else. I don't know, like let's call it just header. Why it's called meta header, like that. So that part will be, and then there will have the two subdivs for the score and for the lives, right? So there will be one will be called ID block, or let's say header score, and the other one will be header lives. And if the if ID is used twice, you will get the red lines before under the code. It means that you cannot use ID multiple times, but you can use class multiple times. So ID must be unique. So here, let's see. So score, and then we can add this span tag so that it will be easier to change the score. So ID span score, like that. And then the lives we will just now add them manually, like this, with these, or you can use some other symbol now, so it's not absolutely required, but you already have those symbols in the previous code that you did. So this will be the header. So, and then to make this header look nice, so let's add here the style. So header, and make the style so that the width is the same as for the game, and add the margin as well. Margin 50 pixels from top, and then centered in horizontally. And then regarding the bottom parts here, so they will be different behaviors. So we have an option to float left and float right. So we will make that those elements are in both sides of the div. So let me see how it looks like. So now when you check how it looks like, the score actually is inside the game itself. So let me show you quickly how it looks like that. So it's not really super nice. And to fix it, we need to add something that is clearing the floats. So the floats are now affecting also the next div. So that's again very kind of thing that you don't really understand very easily regarding the HTML and CSS. There's different options how to do this. One option probably, we could actually try to do this here. So it will actually not work like that, but maybe we can do this here, clear bolt. Let's see what happens. Okay, no, it doesn't work. So yeah, so we need to add some kind of breaks here. So this will be div class break. So we'll make our own small breakage div that will have the height of 0 basically. So this is the class of this, and there will be clear both. So for understanding floats and clear, you should play with this more. So basically divs can be floated to left and right, but then you need to clear them, so like that. And now the visual looks the same as before, and as in the Python is kind of what expected, so it looks like that. Okay, so I will add this part of the code to the Jamboard as well. Just a second. So the header for the game. And if something is not clear, let me know. in the chat. I will look at the chat just in a second. So there is no questions yet. Adding to the slide number 5. And then this is to the slide number 5, and now let's ask the question in the chat. So are you there yet? So did you get so far, plus minus? And then we'll move to the next part. And the next part will be some basic stuff with the JavaScript, basically. Okay, I see emoji of lives. Okay, no problem, no problem. I will post in the chat all of the necessary emojis. So this is this guy. So I know that in the different environments they look different. It's just that you can try to use them like so it doesn't matter that they're a little bit different. So like you have this guy, you have explosion. Then what else we have? Then we have the spaceship. Then I hope that somebody would implement the satellite as well. So that means the kind of some object that you should not hit, right? There could fly in the top part satellites that you should avoid. So there you can do a lot of interesting things with this game. It just depends on yourself how much you can do yourself. Okay, so I see that you're ready to move on. So okay. By the way, no questions, so I'm not sure if that's a good thing. So if you have something is not clear, then let me know. So now let's try to add the aliens inside our game using the jQuery. Okay. So the jQuery is this JavaScript library where we can add something there, and I will also give a brief introduction to JavaScript a little bit more, because we already did the introduction to the Python very beginning in the last series of tutorials, but now we will need to do everything with the JavaScript. So let's see. So let's start with the basics. So with the JavaScript, you always need to define the variable with let or the var, but let is better. So here let's see. So if you have lives, for example, this would be the integer like that, and if you don't add before in front of your variable this let, this will be very bad thing, because then it will become global variable that will be possible to like it's there might be a lot of problems in different parts of the code, and you will not be able to debug it at all. So it's very important to add the let, or the other option is to add, sometimes people add var, that was older type of syntax. So here let's say is game running, and this will be then the true. So this is older type of way how to write this the same thing, but it's better to use the let. So you have the integer, boolean, then we also can add the let, what we could add, a message, game started, for example, like that. So and then that is a string, and the strings can also be defined and in different so message start in different ways, message end, so this will be game ended with the double quotes as well, same way actually as in Python, but the way how to have the combined like so to convert to the string the other types, that is a little bit more difficult. So message score, for example, if I want to write what is the current score here, or okay, let's add also the score, and let's add the score that this will be a decimal number, score, like that. Then to do this is not so easy. Then we need to have the how it was, so the score to string, like that. That is one option, how we can add it, and then we can also write it on console. And then there is actually a few options how to write it in console. Either we can write it as log, like that, or we can write it as, for example, warn or error or anything else. So that also works. Of course, you can add in here also the separate parameters, similar like in Python print. Okay. What else? What else? What else? Then the f strings, something like an f string would look even more different than everything we've seen before. So if we want to write the f string style of strings, so this will be score f string, like the string literals, like in Python. So then it looks like this. It's not, then you should definitely use the specific type of quote. So you see, you can define strings in JavaScript in 3 different ways. And there are even more things that you can, so in JavaScript, a lot of things can be defined in many different ways. So, most of the ways are not good, but some ways are acceptable. So this is the one direction of the thoughts. So, and then let's see about the casting in other side. So if we have, let's say, score from string, then we can use the function parse integer, and then here would be some kind of score 200, which is string, and then it will be converted into 200 integer. So that's the basic logic regarding the variables. So all of these are simple variables. Remember that we talked so much about the simple and complex variables. In the JavaScript, that's completely the same thing. So there is a pointers, and when you start working with the pointers, then there could be a serious problems if you don't understand how to work with them. So these are just the simple types, and we're going to look more again with the complex types and the object-oriented programming of JavaScript next time. But now let's look for how to modify something with jQuery, and then you will also do some homework. So here this dollar sign. The dollar sign it means the jQuery basically. So that's you could also write it in this way, jQuery, and it should work as well. But usually people write it like that because the library has that kind of syntax as well. So, and then how to add, for example, aliens manually. Just a second. So there will be the let j alien 3, so this will be the third alien, and of course this is actually not the class, so this is just a visual element. So now we can define the same thing as above. So let's say the div alien, like that, and like that. But you must be very careful about the quotes. So here's the one quote and here's the double quote. Or you can use the double and one here, but it's better to use in this way because in the HTML, the standard is double quotes. So, and also after every line, remember to add this semicolon. This is again very important in JavaScript. In JavaScript, you don't care about the tabs. You could write all of the code just in one tab or even in one line, which would be very bad. But so we are adding now this new element like that, but it's not added to actually your scene. So we could also create a pointer. So these already are the pointers. These are the complex types. So J scene. So this will be another pointer to our scene. And here we get the logic why we need to have the understanding of the selectors, because now we select exactly the same way as in the CSS code. We can select in jQuery these elements. So now we are accessing the div element called scene. And now we are appending. So there we're saying that I want in this element, this new other element like that. And then the last thing that's missing here is that we need to define the position for this element. So what that we can do by setting the CSS and then these brackets. So there's actually two ways how to do that. So let's try to do first without brackets. So without brackets, that would be the just the so top will be, let's say, 60 pixels. So top 60, and it will automatically actually set that these are pixels. So then, and the left, let's say also 60. So like that. And now, if you look inside, if you look at the result, you should see 3 aliens on the screen. So let me show you how it should look like that. And now I'm going back to the code. So I will add that part to the Jamboard. So, and then I will show the last thing regarding the if statements. And then for the homework, you should make a very basic kind of basically layout of aliens. So programmatically, so just not by coding everything by hand, like writing that this alien is in that location, but let's make a for loop that generates the aliens. So that would be very nice if you could do that in home. And also I will show you now how to add some of the conditions. So here, let's add that we can control that last alien that we just added. So if the event key, so in JavaScript, the if statements and all of the statements have the brackets around them. So again, very different than from Python. And after each line, so that we don't have tabs, but we have these brackets. So that's again very important. So these curly brackets. So and then here there is again we don't use just 2 equal signs, we use 3 equal signs. If we use 2 equal signs, there are in JavaScript there are some very strange things that would happen which are not always good. So let's say so the arrow left should change the position of that alien. So that position could be then this JAlien position. There is specific function position. So all of these functions like position and other things. So a position function is coming from jQuery. So everything that's created by that $sign, that is jQuery, and you have all sorts of interesting functions that you can use. So position minus 20, so it will move in that direction. And then if I write the next line, else if arrow right, position plus that direction. Okay, let me check if it works. It seems like it's not working yet. Arrow left. Why it's not working? $60 pixels. So I will also show you another small thing that to do in the console that we have on the Chrome. There is a very nice way how to operate is that you see I can just write directly all of these variables and immediately change anything. So that's very useful. So CSS, let's say if I'm adding the left to position of 80, then it moves, so that's great. So it works here, but it doesn't work in my code yet. So now if I move back to the code, what is the problem? Let's see, so alien 3 position, maybe that is the problem. Yeah, so that is the problem. The position doesn't work for some reason. Ah, sorry, so there is not X, so there is left, and here is also left and top, there is not X. So again, the kind of HTML type of things are not the same way as we used to have in the Python. Okay, so now I can move the alien in both directions. So I'll add that part also to the Jamboard. So the if statements, how to do them. So you will be able to make that your spaceship moves in the bottom part of the screen. So you should try to replicate at least that part. So I'm not expecting that you will complete the whole game, of course. You'll just make a few small tasks, okay? So I'm adding that to the sixth slide. And then I give you one last small, very nice hack that you can use with CSS that will make the game much nicer. So let me show you that thing. So I will show you how it looks. So I added to the Jamboard, by the way, the stuff. So it looks like this. And now if I press the buttons, the alien is jumping from one side to another side. And you also don't check the border. So you should check also the border, okay? So that's one. Then to make it more beautiful and really nice, so we can use one trick from the CSS. So that's why it's in the HTML CSS we can do it much more beautiful ways. These things. It's not a game engine, but still it's much more smoother. So here, how to change it beautiful? It would be in the element. We should add transition. So transition, there is a specific CSS transition option where we can add that if we change any position for the top, if we change the top property, so that means the position in the Y direction or the left property, then it will be automatically animated in 1 second in a linear fashion. So you can also have an easing fashions, but this is like an animation basically. This automatically animates changing top or left properties. So that is really nice feature for CSS. There's a lot of things you can do with animations, and this will make the game much more lively. So I will add that part, and then I will show you how it looks like in the code. So I'm adding that in the Jamboard, slide number 7. Slide number 7. And now how it looks like in the game. Again, it's very nice working with WebStorm when it automatically refreshes everything and makes everything workable. So now if I go back here, let me see. So see, if I press the button, the player nicely animates the position. So it's not just jumping from one position to another position, it's flying actually. So this will be a very nice way to make your game workable. So you see, it works. There's also, of course, there's a little bit of problem because now if I press many times of button, it actually not moves by the prescribed amount of pixels, but it moves a little bit off the scale. And if you're smart enough, you should be able to kind of fix that. But for the homework, you need to add the bottom part of the player and then create the structure of the aliens. And then just try it out what you can do else with the JavaScript. And if you do something more than this required, that would be great. But next time we will have a new template with regarding the object-oriented programming and other things from the JavaScript. So I think I hope that's interesting enough. And let me check the last time the questions. No questions. So yeah, I hope you will get along with the homework, and then we will start this new journey regarding the JavaScript. And then after that one, hopefully you will be more confident in all of these programming skills. Then we will return back to the Python. Then basically you probably will be able to do all of this very quickly and yourself. So yeah, don't worry that there's a lot of new information. So try to dig step by step. I will give you some uh, additional materials that you can look at. So there's W3 schools called these websites where you have small tutorials regarding the CSS, HTML, and JavaScript. I would highly recommend to look at those as well. So yeah, so let's meet next week.